Welcome to this video on the course outline for the 2018 winter semester of Math 95. I just want to go through the course outline, point out a few highlights. You can read through the course outline, it's in Canvas, the whole thing, but I just wanted to give you a few highlights. Okay, so to begin with, my name, like I said, is Jeff Hamilton. This is my contact information here. Feel free to come to my office anytime you want, or send me an email. Also, probably the best way to communicate with me is using a cell phone. So just text me or call me at 382-1849, and I can give you a hand. Typically, I'm in my office most days from 10 to 12, but it's best to text me beforehand just to make sure that I'm there. A couple people that you may not know but are important for us in the program is our chair, Scott Liebauer. Here's his contact information. And also the dean of our center is Tim Heath, a nice chap. In terms of our class, we are going to be the location. We'll be in Technology 2217, I think, for all of our classes. And we're there on Tuesday and Thursday from 8 in the morning till 9:50. And then on Friday, we're there from 9 until 9:50, same room. You can also look, and I'd encourage you to do that, look in Canvas. That's our online tool. If you haven't been there before, find out where that is. And in Canvas, there's a calendar. And on the calendar, I've put what we're doing on each day, where you need to be, what time, everything. That's all on the Canvas calendar. Okay, on this page, I think that's all that I needed to show you. Next page. This indicates the course outcomes that we're going to be talking about. Basically, we look at a bunch of different types of functions. So we look with linear and quadratic functions, general polynomial functions, exponential, logarithmic functions, and trigonometric functions. Those are the main ones that we look at in the course. For this daytime section of Math 95, and if you're taking the class online, it'll be slightly different. But the daytime version of the class, what I'm wanting you to do is something maybe different than you've done in other courses. So what I'd like to do is I want to be around when you're doing lots of your homework so that I can see where you're going wrong and that I can give you a hand. So in order for that to happen, what I want you to do before every class is I want you to watch the video assigned for that particular class. For example, I think our first class is it's on a Thursday, and we'll do some introduction thing, but the next class we'll do section 1.4. So I want you to watch the video that's available in Canvas and posted on YouTube. You can subscribe to it there too. Watch the video for 1.4 before you come to class. And every day you'll know, just look at the calendar, it'll show you what video you should be watching. Make sure you watch the video before you come to class. Then during class, I'll give you a brief outline of what the content is for that day. And then you'll have the bulk of that time to work on homework with people around you, with your peers, with whomever, and with myself as well. And so there'll be lots of time for me to come around and give you a hand if you have any questions on your homework. So it's a little bit different than lots of math classes. A lot of math classes that I've taught in the past, I talk for the whole time, give a few minutes for homework at the end, and then off you go and you do homework all on your own. And it turns out that often students struggle with that homework, and then they have to come back and get some help later. I think this way students really, from my experience, prefer this way of teaching. So anyway, a key thing for you to do that, is to make sure that you watch the videos before you come to class. Okay, the textbook that you need is that Algebra and Trigonometry one. I think we're on the 5th edition. If you can find a 4th edition or even a 3rd edition for cheaper, those will work as well. You need to have some kind of a scientific calculator, one with a sine, cosine, tan, and a log button on it. Those graphing calculators, they're often a good thing to use as you're going through class, and they're helpful with some graphing things. You don't have to have one, but a graphing calculator is often a handy thing. Also, you need to be able to access the online resources in Canvas. Other resources that can help you, a couple of them. First is our Learning Cafe located in the back of the library, a place where we have teachers there who can help you with lots of things. They do the whole APA thing too, but math, we don't do that. But there is math teachers there as well. So if you have any questions, you can always come to me and ask me questions, but you can also access that resource, the Learning Cafe, in the library. It's an excellent resource. In addition, if you have a need for taking extra time for exams, or if you have other kind of learning disabilities that you think that you might have, you can talk to our folks in accessibility services, and they can set you up with some supports to help you out through the course. In terms of assessment, here's how you'll be assessed. We have four major unit exams, each one worth 15%. And then there's some online quizzes that happen basically every day. I shouldn't have said every week there. They happen every day. And daily homework also happens every day, not just weekly. So those are things that your online quizzes, say for example, we're doing section 1.4, you watch the video before, you come to class, you do your homework, and you submit your homework that same day, right in class, right at the end of the class when you're done. You say, hey, Jeff, take a look. I look at it, I mark it off. Also on the same day, it'd be a good idea to do the online quiz. And there's an online quiz, again, for every section that we do during the course. And so those are 10% for quizzes, 5% for the daily homework, and then your final exam, 25. The quizzes, you can complete those whenever you want. You can complete them as many times as you want, and I only take your highest grade. And the ultimate due date for that is before the final exam. However, it's a really good idea to do them as you go. And since you can do them as many times as you want, do the one that on the day that we're doing that particular section. And then maybe before the exam, do another one of that, like do all the quizzes that pertain to that first exam, do all of those quizzes again. And then maybe before the final exam, try some more quizzes. For exams aren't as flexible. Exams will be written on the day that we've set out. I've got certain windows where those exams will be, but in the in-class section, they're going to be on specific days. So, and I forget what day it's going to be on. I think like the 20th or 21st, but you can check the calendar. But that'll be the day that the exam happens. If you know you're going to be away and you want to write it a day early, I'm fine with that. But if you're going to be away and you can't write it for 2 days after, sorry, you won't be able to write it. So you'll get a 0 on that exam. However, if you miss an exam or for any reason you don't do as well as you would like to on an exam, you can make up one of those exams on the final exam. And it works that it's the corresponding thing. So if, say, on exam number 2, you miss, and I put a 0 in there for you. So on the final exam, it'll be in 4 parts. There'll be a part 1, 2, 3, and 4. And for part 2, that corresponding one, so you get 90% on it, on that particular section. So what happens then is that 0 that you got for exam 2 gets replaced with a 90%. Okay, I think it's a fair way of doing things, and it helps me that I can get the exams back in the hands of all the students so they can learn from that. Okay, like I said, the homework will be due every day, and so every day that you come to class, there will be homework due, and you just hand that in before the end of the class. Now, there's the odd one where I give you a couple questions, maybe too many. If you aren't able to complete the homework during that class, you can always show it to me the next day. You don't want your whole homework to build up though over, 3 or 4 days or a week or two. Then that just gets too much homework, and you try and get it all done at one time, and it's not nearly as useful as doing the homework as we go. So I prefer to get the homework done as you're doing it each day. Okay, in terms of grading, here's the grid. So if you want to get an A plus, you got to get a 95. If you're wanting to fail, you got to make sure you're in between that range there. Hopefully you're not having that as a goal though. Okay, just a couple other things on this next page. General course expectations. Um, I want you to come on time for class, come prepared to work, come prepared. I guess my big thing is come prepared to ask questions. So watch the video. You can get started on homework before you can come to class if you want. And come prepared to ask me questions of why this happens or what steps do I need to accomplish a specific task. So come with questions. That's my main thing. I like to answer people's questions. Also, as part of this expectations, I want you to take responsibility for your own learning. So uh, when you come into class, be responsible. Watch the videos before you come. Make sure you work on your quizzes. Do your homework the best that you can. I didn't mention that with the homework before. Is that the answers to all the homework that you'll be assigned are in the textbook, and also in Canvas there's solution manuals that actually show you how to do each question. So when I mark your homework, I'm not marking it to see whether it's correct or not, because I assume that you've taken the responsibility to figure out if your answers are correct or not. So make sure you look at those, and if they're correct and everything's done, then you can show it to me, and I'll just say, oh, it's complete, good, I'll give you credit. But also take responsibility for things that you don't know. If you're not sure of something, ask somebody, whether it's the people in the Learning Cafe or your classmates or asking me. Feel free to ask me any kind of questions. Um, there's other stuff here on this page. Maybe the last thing I'll talk about is this academic honesty. That goes like along, I guess, with responsibility. I'm expecting that you'll be honest in the things that you do. A couple maybe clarifications there on exams. I don't want you looking at somebody else's paper. I want to know what you know. And so that, for me, that would be academic honesty, is not looking at somebody else's paper on an exam. If you're doing homework, though, I love people that do homework together because you can bounce ideas off of each other. I love people that ask me questions while you're doing your homework and while they're doing their homework, and clarifications on how to do something. For the online quizzes, I want you to get 5 out of 5 on all of those. Every quiz is 5 questions. I want you to get 5 out of 5 on those. If you keep getting 3 out of 5 and 3 out of 5, doing it over and over, and you can't get a 5, just, hey, Jeff, I want to get 5 out of 5. Can you help me with this quiz so you can get 5 out of 5? So on the quizzes, I encourage you to get help from whomever. So it's not cheating if you get help on quiz questions. It is cheating if you get help on exam questions. But on the quizzes, feel free to get as much help as you can from whomever around. Same thing with homework. Get lots of help on homework and get that completed. Okay, so I'm looking forward to helping you out with Math 95. Love the concept. Logs and exponents, my all-time favorite section in the course. Lots of good, interesting math in this, and I'm looking forward to having you in the class and helping you out. Again, like I said on the first slide, if you have any questions, feel free to text me or call me at that phone number anytime. Okay, hope you enjoy the course.